I've been looking at a lot of headlines crossing the wire. Some interesting stories here already.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And a lot of interesting stories, particularly among the family offices. We've been watching more and more. That Soros
Come on, throw it out there.
Soros Fund Management bet against Silvergate that was put on options in the fourth quarter. Then you have Stanley Druckenmiller getting out of Amazon.
Whoa, the bet you're talking about Silvergate, right?
Yeah.
And then what is old Mr. Griffin doing? Mr. Miami.
Mr. Miami.
Citadel.
I actually haven't looked at Citadel.
He's betting on. I saw the Citadel actually was betting on
Silvergate.
So
we're at the billionaires here, and I think it matters here too.
Everyone loves a good billionaire fight.
They do. We'll put it all together at the very end, and especially among, to your point, Ken Griffin is still very much at the helm of Citadel, and Citadel is still actively trading very prolifically as a hedge fund. But Soros Fund Management, like when you're a family office, you have a little bit more patient capital, if you will. So seeing a short
they have to answer to no one.
Exactly.
But one person,
answering to nobody.
So I'm glad you bring that up. Patient capital. I mean, these are snapshots at a moment in time. We don't know how long these family offices or any of these funds are holding on to any of these stocks, right?
Exactly, and I think, and that's what I was going to get to, about among the family offices, the big billionaire bets, the ones that we need to follow here.
Who else?
Well, Stanley Druckenmiller. How do you not follow Stanley Druckenmiller? So if you're
he was in Amazon, right?
He was in Amazon, and he's out of Amazon very, very quickly. Amazon, of course, is up. Another one of his big sells is Palantir, which is, again, up fairly meaningfully at the beginning of the year. But I think this is a tone issue, guys, because if you take a look at the other thing that family offices in aggregate are buying, it's a lot of ETFs tied to treasuries still. That has been a trend that we have been seeing, and it's something that is continuing
Safety plays.
Safety plays. I want to talk a little bit more about Maverick. Just really quickly here, because Maverick is one of the most well-known traders, Lee Ainsley of all time. And you've got to see, when you look at him as a Tiger Cub trading relative to the other Tiger Cubs, 122 new buys.
Wow.
Just staggering. He only sold out of 9
That's a lot. So he's basically an index fund at this point.
Exactly. And if you compare that to the like of Chase Coleman over at Tiger Global, they sold out of 16. They bought 7 new buys.
Right.
So compare a Maverick, which is just prolifically trading here, versus a Tiger Global that the risk appetite, again, they have had a tough year here, but it's looking pretty tough. We do have the big sales that they have had, and you can see they sidestep some serious issues as well, but again, selling more than they are taking on.
And PayPal's been down all day on a bunch of different hedge funds selling out of it, or at least reducing their stakes. What about Icon? What about Elliott? These are activist investors. Sometimes they don't agitate for change, but they often do. So what new positions or interesting positions have they picked up over the past quarter that we should be paying attention to?
Yeah, Elliott's really important, remember, because we had Paul Singer just a couple of weeks ago speaking in Miami privately to a group of hedge funds saying that he thinks things are going to get really badly. But if you're an Elliott, you have an opportunity to shake up a lot of things right now. Activism is supposed to make a real big comeback. So, you know, of course, Elliott is something that this year they just raised the most money that they've ever raised. So we expect them to be putting it to work.
Well, that's what I'm curious about, too, is because, I mean, a lot of these funds have a lot of money to deploy, right? I mean, I guess we don't necessarily know exactly what their cash balances are, but we do know just from some of the inflows that they've got a lot to work with here in 2023, right?
They have a lot to work with, and it's interestingly as well. And like to your point here, again, iShares high yield Elliott is in, right? Well, by the way.
Yeah, I know it's a no-lose bet, but still, it's boring.
But to the point on Elliott, that is one of the most bought tickers, HYG, in the fourth quarter among all funds. So it's not as interesting as just activism or just single name bets or just technology. You're seeing very interesting ETFs being bought to position against a market that people are not so certain about.
Was anyone picking up like AMC or GameStop or anything like that?
I don't think that's so much for
Are
these
you guys GameStop buyers?
I'm just trolling you, Sonali.